All right, I think we're ready. Okay, so welcome again. Welcome everyone. Thank you for attending us today, for sharing, for being here today. Before we start, let me just give you a quick reminder. You are muted and your video is turned off at the moment. But if you want to participate or have any questions, please type your questions in the chat. We are going to read it and we are going to share it with our speaker today later on. All right. This session will be available on our YouTube channel starting from tomorrow. So we advise you to look for it and watch again, because you are going to receive a huge amount of information today. English closed captioning is available for you in case you need it. So just go to the specifications at the bottom of your screen and activate them. All right. So today's session is Demystifying Common App by Philip Moss, from the Mississippi State University. Welcome, Philip. We are going to start, before we go to Philip, we are going to start with the information that you already know. What is Education USA? Education USA is a global network of advising centers from the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Education, Educational and Cultural Affairs, also known as the ECA. We have 23 Education USA advising centers around Mexico. If you don't have one available in your city or state, I'm sure that you have one at least very close by. It offers free access to introductory information on US studies. And well, the USA targets students, higher education institutions, governments, NGOs, and anyone or everyone that is interested in information about education in the United States, higher education in the United States. We provide, as I was telling you, the initial information for you to start your studies in the United States. And we do it using these 5 steps that you already know, right? Research your options, finance your studies, complete your application, apply for your visa, and prepare for departure orientation. We do these services in both formats, in in-person format and in virtual format. So make sure that you find your Education USA advisor that is closer to your location. All right, so with no further ado, we are going to introduce today's speaker. Thank you again, Philip Moss. He is Assistant Director of International Recruitment at Mississippi State University. Welcome, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. It's certainly good to be here. Good to share some of my experiences and help students understand the Common App a little further and know how to use that to apply to colleges everywhere.
All right, I bet that everyone is taking notes right now. The floor is yours. Go ahead. Thank you for joining.
All right, certainly. Let's advance to the next screen. All right, so the Common App. What is the Common App? So the Common App is a centralized way for students to apply to colleges across the U.S. and over 20 countries. The Common App has been around a long time, and so they've learned what colleges are looking for. There is a Common App. So the Common App is free for students to use. However, there would be an application fee for many colleges. There's a Common App fee waiver that I'll point out on an upcoming screen where to complete that. The Common App fee waiver, I'll repeat this in a moment, is not going to adversely affect your admission in any way. So don't be afraid to use the Common App fee waiver. And finally, once you've completed the Common App, this is the primary information that most colleges will require. However, some colleges may ask for additional information, and I'll point that out when we get to that portion on the application. So Common App is going to streamline the process for you. However, this may not provide everything a college needs. Some may want additional information just a little bit. So let's advance to the next slide and see how to get started. All right, so this is the opening screen. You go to commonapp.org to get started. You choose your admission type, whether you're applying as a freshman, transfer, or something else. You're going to have an email address, and you're going to register that email address. And this is a quick and fast process. Once you get it registered, then you're ready to start the application. All right, so once you've start of the process, this is going to be the first screen you see. So you can see welcome, Philip, in a moment of me telling you my credentials. In addition to working in higher education for the past 15 plus years, I also have a high school senior who is starting the application process. So I had my high school senior complete the Common App. His name is Philip Jr. So he completed the Common App, and I learned as a parent what you see. So you can see you're going to you see my colleges, the Common App. You see the college search, and you see the financial aid resources. Financial aid resources, if you're applying to public colleges, is primarily going to be just for domestic students. If you're applying to private colleges, there might be some opportunity for financial aid, but definitely check out all of these categories. So as we walk through this, we're going to look at most of those tabs and columns there to help you figure out what you need to do to complete the Common App. All right. Common App, the first page under profile is going to be things that you know a whole lot about. You're going to talk about yourself. You're going to ask for your background, your name. You see the tabs on the left side of the screen. Family, education. We're going to touch on some of these just a little bit more, just to make sure that you have all your questions answered. Quick and easy. On the right side, you can see resources that are available through the Common App for help all the time. So feel free to click on that need help information if you're struggling with any of those categories. Okay, education section. You can see all the things that are asked for here. Education section, you're going to tell us what high school you attend. If you've attended a college, you're going to list that. You do have an opportunity to key in all your courses. Most colleges in the US are going to want a comprehensive list of your courses, so a transcript. Keying in through the Common App will often make it official because your counselor will certify what's there as well. Your counselor will have an opportunity through a counselor access to upload your transcripts. I am unsure if your Education USA advisors would have the access to upload information about your high school credentials. I think that's going to come from your high school. Thinking about transcripts, various colleges in the US, some are going to want a formal evaluation of your transcripts. Some are going to accept self-reported transcripts, and some are going to want it from the high school itself. So it just varies depending on which school you're looking at and which college you've applied. So take note of that things could be different. Some things on this screen might be more US centric than others. However, for the most part, you should be able to answer all of this. All of this information, all of this information is just going to be straightforward, and nothing on this should impact your admission. So just be honest with us, be honest with the Common App, tell us everything that you can about yourself in this area, and then just advance to the next section. Okay, testing. All right, in the age of COVID, many colleges are not requiring test scores for admission. SAT is the common test in the US for admission. So have you taken the SAT? SAT could be helpful for admission, but definitely not required. Coming from Mexico, coming from an international country, you likely have to provide official language proficiency proof. And so what does that look like? So Mississippi State, like many colleges, are going to require official language proficiency scores. A little bit later, I will give you some examples of what Mississippi State might require. The TOEFL, the IELTS, or SAT scores can all lead to proficiency. Duolingo, kind of a newer test of proficiency. Mississippi State, as well as other colleges, are considering Duolingo, and so it may be accepted, it may not be accepted. Test optional. I would anticipate some of y'all asking questions about test optional a little bit later, but test optional, I would say work with your Education USA advisor as well as your school guidance counselor to figure out if you have test scores, should you submit them? If you feel like they're going to help you with admission, then definitely submit them. If you feel like they're going to hurt you, then you may not want to include them. Common App, as I may have mentioned at the beginning, does include over 1,000 colleges, some of which are going to be very selective. The highly selective colleges, other going to be more like a Mississippi State, that's more about inclusion and admitting students rather than turning students away. And so testing optional or testing completely up to you whether you want to include those. All right. Some of the things on this screen are the things I just mentioned, talking about international applicants. Different countries, especially the ones in West Africa, have national exams. And so does your country have a national exam that you need to upload a proof that you completed the national exam? And so that's what this question is asking about. So if that's true in Mexico, then you would need to include that. If that's not true, then you of course could choose not to answer that question. All right, activities. So admission so far, colleges are going to look at your ACT or SAT as well as your GPA. That's all the information we have so far. As colleges are thinking about diversity and thinking about what we want our future student body to look like, activities is where you can really tell us more about yourself. With the activity section, it does allow you to include up to 10 different activities. So you think about all the things you're involved in, from school to church to community, work experiences, different leadership experiences you've had. As you see on the screen, family obligations, like you're having to care for a brother or sister, or having to care for grandparents. All those are legitimate things that you have to consider. And so this is an important section for schools that are highly selective. Again, I'll slide back. Schools like a Mississippi State that are looking simply at ACT or SAT and GPA, this is not going to be an important section for us. But if you feel like you have some great activities, you're applying to some highly selective schools, then this is an opportunity for colleges to get to know you a little bit further, for them to really see who you are as a person outside the classroom. So definitely take time to think about this. If you have more than 10 activities, you're going to have to figure out which ones are the most important to you, which ones you think might be the most important to colleges. Definitely tough decisions and all this. Let me pause here 1 second and just mention that that the Common App is open right now for you to complete. However, if you complete Common App today, you will have to go back in on August 1st and update it to the new calendar year. Right now, it's for the fall 2023 school year. And so if you complete it today, you'd be applying to colleges for this coming fall. You would have to go in there and reset it for fall 2024. And that's a quick and easy process, not a lot involved in that. And so I would advise you to go ahead and start looking at this if you think the Common App is going to be the method that you apply to colleges. All right, activities. Many of the things I just mentioned on the previous screen, and so I don't know if there's much reason to pause on that. I did see a question potentially related to. Okay, it's in the honors part. Can I put the same thing I put in on my CV, or does it have to vary? It's okay to list the same information twice. That's not going to be bad, especially if it's something that looks really good to you. Definitely okay to list things more than one time. All right, let's advance to the next screen. All right, essay. Essay is another section that is going to be important for many colleges. Again, for Mississippi State and a lot of public colleges, the essay is not something that we consider. As the international admissions counselor for Mississippi State, I have enjoyed reading students' essays as I'll learn more about what makes international students tick. And so the personal essay is not looked at by Mississippi State. However, it's been very informative to me as I try to grow as a professional to learn more about students. And so the personal essay there's 7 different prompts. And I think on the next slide, which we don't have to go to just yet, there might be 7 different prompts that I've included what the current prompts are. And the current prompts just ask you to reflect on your life, reflect on challenges, reflect on growth, reflect on different things of that nature. And so definitely check out the essay section. Highly selective colleges are going to take this section very seriously. I would, in terms of academic integrity, I would say do your best here. Do not be tempted to have someone write your essay for you. Do not be tempted to purchase an essay online. Colleges have done this long enough that we can recognize when we see a professionally written essay. Do your best to make sure grammar is correct. For international applicants, we would recognize that your first language may not be English, and so there would definitely be some grace there. Do the best you can, but realize that if you're applying to highly selective colleges, the essay, in addition to activities, is where you're going to differentiate yourself from other students. So make sure that you are taking the time in the essay section to do it well. Let's advance to the next screen. Yeah, so here are the current prompts, and I'll give you a moment to read what some of those are. I will say that my son is applying to Mississippi State in addition to some other more selective colleges, and he is examining these prompts, trying to figure out what is the best essay for him to include. If you Google essay prompts, and there are resources out there that will advise you on which prompts are the best for you. And they might ask you, and there's a YouTube video that asks you to consider different life experiences to help you decide which one is the best one for you. I will say they mentioned that the top one is the one that's the most common. And so if you want to try to make yourself look a little different, then definitely don't choose the top one. So definitely consider all these as you're writing your essay. Let's go to the next slide. All right. One last thing with writing. In addition to those prompts, there are 2 more sections. Responding to COVID, there is an opportunity for you to talk about how COVID has impacted you, how it has impacted your schooling, how it has impacted your life experiences, things that you think admission committees might want to know. Again, this is going to be completely optional. I would say that admission committees do have a strong understanding that COVID has impacted everyone. And so I would think that I would only tell you to do this section if you feel like you have a significant than the general population. And I don't know if that means you got COVID and were sick in the hospital, and how it impacted your life, or if you had a family member that was impacted. Definitely consider, is this going to be beneficial for you to include? All right, and then the final section of that was you wish to share circumstances that are not included somewhere else. And so again, this is going to be completely optional to you. Is there something in your life that did not fit anywhere else that you feel like admission committees need to know? Completely optional again. Is this going to be helpful? I'm going to touch briefly on Mississippi State, and then we can go back into questions about the Common App, questions about Mississippi State, or questions about colleges in general. I've worked for Mississippi State for a number of years, but I've worked on college campuses in 3 other states in the U.S. I've been enrolled in colleges in 3 different colleges. And so I have a strong understanding of all things U.S. education. And so though I'm far from an expert, I am pretty knowledgeable. And when I'm talking with students, I want you to have the best opportunity possible. And so I'm going to be pretty open and honest about affordability and other things that you need to consider when you're considering college in the U.S. The shot you see on the screen is the drill field. It's the academic center of campus, One of the main administrative buildings is in the distance. All the grass you see, again, that's just the quad, as you might hear on some campuses. We call that the drill field. The academic buildings are located in the vicinity of that. Mississippi State has around 22,000 students. We have students from around 80 different countries. We have around 1,000 international students among that 22,000. I have been recruiting international students for a little over a year, and we're seeing very strong numbers with internationals just based upon us starting to actively recruit internationals. Big challenges for any international is, of course, the funding. So I'll talk about funding in addition to everything else in just a moment. So let's do advance to the next screen. All right. Again, Mississippi State, test optional, as I mentioned during the testing section. I do see most students submitting some sort of test score, whether that's the SAT or whether that's the TOEFL or the IELTS. On the screen, you can see the requirements for both the TOEFL and IELTS. We do ask for an application fee. However, I would say that I see many students applying with a fee waiver. If you do not apply via the Common App, you can apply via the institutional app, and I can help you with the fee waiver for the institutional app. Both the fee waiver for the institutional app as well as the fee waiver through the Common App are going to require verification from your guidance counselor that you do qualify to receive the fee waiver. But both those are quick and easy. Again, students from all over and great opportunities at Mississippi State. Right. This is a higher shot of the same building and a higher shot of the drill field. You can see various buildings here. You see the total cost of attendance. I'm sure you're aware as an international student what it takes to attend a college in the US. You do have to demonstrate you have cost of attendance either in scholarship or in direct funding. So again, that's the big challenge that I see when I'm trying to help students arrive in the US. Mississippi State, being test optional, does have some GPA-based scholarships looking at your high school grades on a 4.0 level. So if you have strong grades, you will receive some sort of scholarship. Scholarships for the 2023-2024 school year, which starts in just over a month, are being finalized right now. I can certainly share numbers from previous years, but well, I guess numbers for the current school year. If you have above a 3.75 GPA on a 4.0 level, you're receiving a scholarship that would cover approximately half of tuition. And so you would still have to demonstrate the remaining cost of attendance in different funding. Mississippi State has different scholarships, in addition to those that I mentioned. So I'd say if you have the opportunity to take the SAT, I would strongly encourage you to examine those opportunities over the next 6 months. The last SAT test that we guarantee to use for scholarships is the December test date of your final year of high school. So look for opportunities to take the SAT. We super score SAT. So if you were able to take it more than one time, that could potentially lead to some strong scholarship opportunities. You can email me directly and I can talk with you specifically about, here's my contact information. Happy to answer questions via phone, via WhatsApp, via email, anything I can do to help you make those connections. My job, again, is not to convince you to go to Mississippi State, but to help you make an informed decision. So let me know how I can help as you're navigating all these choices, as you're navigating all the different ways to get to college in the US.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Philip, for this insight. I do think we have some questions. I have some, and then Magali is going to share some others. Would you like to share them, Magali?
Yes. So the first question that we have is, in the honors part in the Common App, can the student put the same thing that they put on their CV, or does it have to be different?
It is okay to include the same information multiple times in the Common App, especially if there are things that make you look really good. So from honors college or honors classes, yes, definitely okay to include that multiple times. The CV may not be noticed as much as
Thank you, Philip. We are going to continue.
No, Magali, wait. Philip was just elaborating a little bit. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry, I think I lost you. I lost my connection. Sorry, Philip, for that.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll just say definitely the CV may not be noticed as much as other areas as the activities area. So definitely make sure you include it in the activities area, even if you've included it in your CV.
All right. I
Okay.
have another one that I think is related. You mentioned, they say that you mentioned that there is a section called Tell Us About You. What information about myself is more interesting for universities, or what should I put more emphasis or focus on? What would you recommend, Philip?
Yeah, so this is not a super easy question to answer, just because it's going to vary so much among the students. You know, the under the writing section, you know, the final question that I think that's what you're referring is, you know, are there things about you that that did not seem to fit anywhere else? And so I think I could list, you know, hundreds of examples here. Maybe you had a childhood illness that you had to fight to overcome that did not seem to fit anywhere else. You know, maybe you live with grandparents and you want to point that out, and maybe you were adopted. Maybe
your first generation in high school or university, right?
The possibilities are endless, and so this is just an opportunity for you to let colleges know a little bit more about you. And again, this is not going to hurt you. So I would say, tell us more about yourself and help us get to know you as a person, get to know you as a candidate. You know, colleges that are more selective are trying to figure out, would you be a good candidate for there? You know, are you going to be a candidate that can succeed in college? And so the Common App, as well as institutional apps, are designed to help you brag on yourself, help you tell us how you're going to be successful in college, so we can admit the best class possible.
All right, thank you very much. Mac? Magali?
Thank you. We will continue with the next question. Thank you. Okay. Will I manage my application essays in the Common App?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Oh, sorry. Will I manage my application essays in the Common App?
Well, do you manage your application? Is that what you're asking?
I think I'm still losing my connection. Adri, could you help me?
Yeah, I think she refers that if the applicant will write the essay directly to the app.
Good question. Okay. Yes. Two different options with the essay. You can write it in the prompt section, or you can write it on a Word document and upload it. There is a word count limit, so make sure you're paying attention to that. I wish I knew the exact word. It's either 500 words or 250. It's a pretty short essay, and so make sure that you're paying attention to that. So yes, you can do it in a Word document and upload it later.
Yeah, it would be advisable, right? Also to check your spelling, your writing in general, your style, to give you time to think about it, settle it down before you apply it to your application, right?
For sure. And have your counselor look at it, have your best friend look at it, have your parent look at it, anybody that can help you consider how to make it better.
Exactly. Thank you for that. I think we have another one that is related to it. What are common topics for essays in it?
Okay. Well, it depends on the prompt that you choose. But again, you know, I would say that challenges you've overcome, and I would try to avoid you know, the common teenage challenges. You know, my boyfriend broke up with me, my girlfriend broke up with me, you know, I did not make the varsity team. You know, those are going to be way too common. So I would think, reflect on your life, reflect on things that that would be let us know how you grew as a person. And so again, depending on the prompt you choose, and of the 7 prompts, there's many different ways that you can talk about yourself and talk about ways that you can achieve well in college. So I would say depends on the prompt you choose, but try to avoid the common teenage circumstances.
Yeah, and you don't have that much space, right? The
Right.
extension of the writing is very short. Try to be on point, try to follow the directions and read directions on the first place. I think the following is more like an ethical question.
Okay.
Thoughts on using ChatGPT to create essays? What are your thoughts, Philip?
Well, well, ChatGPT is so new that yeah, maybe it's going to write a quality essay, but maybe it's not. If should you choose to use a ChatGPT, I would say you should go back in after the ChatGPT creates this essay and try to make it your own. Is it going to be obvious to admission committees that that's what you did? I would probably caution you not to use a ChatGPT. I would caution you to write it yourself. I would think if a college has an ethical concern of like, did they really write this? Are we going to admit them and this is what they're going to do when they get to college? Then they may have your essay or have your application not be as highly ranked as others. So I would tell you not to do that.
Yeah, especially with the thing you were just saying about the topics of the essays. The topics of the essays are highly personal. They want you to reflect who you are, where you've been, right? So that is something that only you know and only you can express in the best way and enhance the things that you want to enhance, right?
You're exactly right.
All right, I have another one. How do I know that the university I'm interested in will accept my application through the Common App?
Great question. So on the one of the first screens where it has My College Search does have resources for you to search for colleges, search for well, let's say it allows you to search for types of colleges. If you don't know what colleges you want to apply, there's some websites that are linked to the Common App that allow you to do a search to help you decide where I need to apply. With over 1,000 universities in the US included on the Common App, most likely you're going to be able to find your university as one of the one you want to apply as one of the options. If yours is not, then you'll have to visit the institutional website to figure out how to apply for admission. So in addition to the questions on the website, and I think I mentioned this earlier in the presentation, likely once you finish submitting the Common App, you're going to be redirected to go to the institutional app to answer some questions. And I will say for Mississippi State's purposes, we ask students to visit our website, visit our application, and answer a legal issues question that ask, have you been convicted of a crime in the past 6 months? And I would suspect that many colleges might have some type of question of that nature. Have you been accused of an honors violation at your high school, and what was the outcome? So there is the college search function on the Common App. They'll help you find the right college for you.
All right, thank you very much. I have another one. Can colleges see who else I've applied for?
There is a section on the Common App where we can see some of the colleges you've applied to. I don't know that that's going to be a huge factor in the admissions criteria or admissions decisions, but yes, there is a section where I can see who else received the Common App.
Okay, yeah, I think that is important to emphasize and it's a cultural change or a cultural difference between Mexican students and students from the US, right? It's part of the process, remember, it's part of the process to apply to more than one institution and more than one program. So it's not going to be against you if they see that you are applying to other colleges. Very good. All right. Another question, Philip. I hope you're not getting tired because we had a couple. All right. Are there any universities that don't use the Common App or the Universal College Application System? I think it goes a little bit on the one before. And if they don't, how do I apply?
Yes.
Can you just specify a little bit about?
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head who would not accept the Common App. I think that the most colleges that I would be familiar that your students may have heard of would accept the Common App. Yeah, there are over 4,000 colleges in the US. And so if there's 1,000 that use it, obviously there are a lot that don't. But most universities that I've heard of, that your students have heard of, will accept the Common App. If you have done a college search website and you found one that's not on the Common App, visit the institutional website to see the application. I would say in the 2023, almost all applications are going to be online, going to be a quick and easy process. If you have selected one college that you want to apply to and you're not applying to multiple colleges, then the Common App may not be the best way for you. The Common App is designed for students to be prepared to apply to multiple colleges. If you've got it narrowed down to 1 or 2 colleges already, then maybe just going to the institutional website would be the fastest, most effective way for you.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely up to you, but visit websites to figure out the best way to apply.
Yeah, we also say it. The first step in our process is just to research your options, right? And it's not different when you're using the common application. I have another one. I am interested in researching. I think it's a master or a PhD. Is there anything that I have to write in the application related to research? My interests, my project, maybe?
Okay, so this would likely depend upon the level of selectiveness to schools you're applying. So if you're applying to super selective colleges related to engineering research or other areas of research, likely you would need to provide more information. If you're applying to just more open enrollment universities, which of course graduate programs are not going to be necessarily all open enrollment. So what level of testing is required? So again, visit institutional websites to determine what testing requirements are required.
Thank you very much. I don't think we have any other question. Aquí hay una. What is, I'm sorry, it's in Spanish. Oh, is it better to do a direct application directly to the website of the college or the university? Does it have a better, is it better
I got you.
appreciated if I do it directly than if I do it through the Common App?
There is no difference in terms of someone getting admitted. I will say administratively, if someone applies to the Common App from Mississippi State, someone in our office is essentially moving the information to our institutional app. And so if someone wants a faster admission decision, I would tell them if they're applying to Mississippi State, I would say apply through the institutional app. And I would suspect many colleges might have similar situations. So if you want a very fast admission decision, apply via the institutional app. But if you're okay, if it takes 3 more days, 1 more week, then applying via the Common App is fine. But in terms of how you're going to look, there is no difference for colleges. We're going to treat every student equally.
All right. I think Magali has another question.
Yes, I hope.
Go ahead.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. When should I start my Common App?
Yeah.
How can I register, and how long is my information saved?
Great question. So you can start the institutional app right now, and go ahead and get your information keyed in. However, as I mentioned at the beginning, every August 1st, it does reset for the new school year in the US. And so you can start now, but you will have to go back in on August 1st just to note that you're moving forward in the school year. It's saved for a year. And again, every August 1st, you would go forward and update your information just to make sure that you're moving forward in the school year. I guess I'm trying to think of a scenario. Let's say you went to, in the US, we have something called community college or junior college. Those are 2-year options. And so if you went to a community college or junior college, you could go back in and upload your transcripts there. or you went to a different four-year college and you're going to apply as a transfer student after some period of time, and then you can log back into your Common App, update your information. But I don't know that your Common App information ever expires. I'm sure it would at some point, but that is not something that I have direct knowledge of if it does expire.
All right. So you can keep your information at least during your application process season, right? I have another one. I think this is the last one. How many applications or how many institutions can I access through a common application? Is there a limit?
There is
the
a
number
limit.
of institutions?
There is a limit, and unfortunately, I don't know that number off the top of my head, but it's at least 10. And so, how many colleges can you apply to via the Common App? It's at least 10. And so, how many colleges does someone need to apply? I don't know. That's really going to depend upon the student and depend upon what they're looking for. As you're starting the college search, what's important to you. I would say my own son, who's a high school, rising senior, I suspect he'll apply to somewhere around 3 or 4 colleges. And so I don't know that he would need to apply for 10, but you do have the opportunity to apply to multiple colleges. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. And again, that is part of the first step, right? Researching your options. Make sure that you contact your Education USA advisor. Oh, we have one more from Carlos de la Cerda Peña. Is it the same essay for all schools? Are they going to get the same essay for all 6 schools?
Great question. Yes, the 7 prompts, you're only going to do one essay, and that's going to be the essay that goes to all 7 schools. When you submit the essay, when you start the application process, when you visit a school-specific website, they might have another essay prompt for you to complete in addition to the Common App essay. But the essay that you complete on the Common App will be the essay that goes to every college.
All right, so be very conscious. If you have that misspelling, it's going to be in every application you send. So be aware of that. There was one comment in the questions. I don't want to look lazy using this common application, right? So don't. Make sure that whatever you type in your application is very well thought of. It's very well edited, that you make sure you don't have any misspellings, any words that are maybe misused. Make sure that you had time to, as Philip said before, have someone, more than one, hopefully, read and reread your answers before you apply, right? Philip, is there anything? Yeah.
I will just say that if someone we do not view someone as lazy that uses the Common App. The Common App is very common. It is a great tool to help students streamline the process. I'm a big fan of the Common App, and so I don't have any negative thoughts about someone that applies via the Common App, via coming to our website to apply. Common App, I would encourage students to use. It is very good at what it does. So no negative thoughts whatsoever about someone that uses the Common App.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Philip. I don't know, Max, if you have any other question there.
No, just thank you for your time. Thank you to our audience. Thank you to our presenters today, Adri and Philip. And thank you. We are going to share one last slide with our information. Just remember, you can always contact us if you have any more questions at mexico@educationusa.org. You can see our social media, and Adri is going to talk about our podcast. So
yeah, make sure that you visit our podcast. We are in Spotify. You just go to Spotify and type in Education USA Voices. It should pop right up. We have some chapters in Spanish, but it's mostly in English. We talk about educational subjects, educational topics, but from a more personal perspective. We mainly have interviews that help us cover the same topics that you usually see in your one-on-ones, or maybe things that you are thinking about in your application process. But we have some more time there to just make questions and answer them. Just make sure that you go there and you subscribe to our podcast. We are going to also share again Philip's form of contact. Make sure that you write to him if you have any questions about today's presentation or about Mississippi State University. Thank you again, Philip, for joining us today and presenting this useful information.
Thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with your students.
Thank you. Thank you, Max. Thank you, everyone. Remember, this session is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel from tomorrow. So see you around. Have a nice day.